Michael Slater joining the call, who's going to be leading the presentation. We're going to give everyone a couple more minutes as I see that more people are just joining, so I'm going to give everyone a couple more minutes to join the call. As I know from the list, there's a few more to join, so I'll give them a chance. And we'll begin in about 2 minutes. Good afternoon, everybody. Again, this is Michael Slater. I'll be leading the presentation today. And as I've seen, we've had a bunch more people just join. I think it's just right at 11:30, so we like to be very prompt here at Speed Networking. And we know you all have busy schedules and appreciate you taking the time to join us today. And for some, good morning. For some, good afternoon, as we have a great range from all around the country, from universities, and we have some associations joining us as well to learn more about some of the engaging programs we plan on showing to you today, and a little bit of a few other components. So thank you and welcome everybody for joining us. I'm going to make it very well known. I'm a very, very proud Kelley School of Business alumni, also a lifetime member, and I know I have some friends on the phone as well. So if you hear me make a couple remarks about the Kelley School of Business, I'm only being a good alumni, as I would know that you would expect the same from all of your alums. So that's a little bit about me. We're going to get back into what my experiences in just a moment as we transition through the presentation. Throughout the course, just relax. If you have any questions, you can send us a note at events@speednetworking.com. We have some people standing by that can, we're kind of doing some messaging behind the scenes if you have some questions, and happy to answer them for you. So as we begin, I'm going to transition to our first page and tell you a little bit about myself, how we got here, what is speed networking, and then we're going to get into really the guts of the presentation. So a little bit of background of myself, as I already had mentioned of my proud affiliation with the Kelley School of Business at Indiana University, which is kind of where I got my whole start with speed networking. As a young alum, fresh out of school, I was all proud and I was on top of the world. Went to my first networking event and was terrified of going to the event as I looked up at all of these individuals in suits and very sophisticated looking and very professional, and I had no idea what to talk to them about. It was very concerning to me, and although I'm a very outgoing and extroverted person, I did make my way through the room, but it was a very difficult situation for me as a young alum at the time, and I've learned many things along the way. But what that did do is it triggered me to get more involved with my alumni association. So at that time, I took the initiative to get involved, and they took me under their wing, and I joined and took leadership of a young alumni program for the school and helped with programming. And this is where I really got to build my base of understanding event planning in the world of alumni association and alumni career services, as it was near and dear to their hearts. And I learned a lot through them and evolved much more over the years as well. And then I brought to the Kelley School of Business's attention to do a speed networking event years ago, and to do with our arch nemesis, should I say, Purdue University. and we had it was actually turned out to be a great experience because we worked with like-minded professionals. We'll get back into that in a little bit. In addition to, over the years, I have a strong affiliation with Club Corp and also Metropolitan Club, where I sit on the board of governors, and my responsibility with Club Corp and the Metropolitan Club is to help identify and create engaging events, not just speed networking events, but all around the board, all across the board. As their members are extremely demanding, they pay high dues, they expect results from each and every event. So that has been a great affiliation for me to also understand more about event plannings, etc. And then I've also had my philanthropic, along with the American Heart Association, and hosting events for them, another industry group of which I've been very affiliated with, and helping them build events as well. So it's a lot about my events, and then finally, just years and years of experience working with trade associations, corporations, alumni and alumni career services groups, business networking organizations who make up our client base, and working with event planners, certified event planners from all around the world, and learning about their needs, their challenges, and how we can continue to build really engaging events for all attendees, at the same time minimize the impact and the administrative impact for the clients to produce a great result. And a little bit about speed networking, I'll come back to it a little later. I know several people on the phone are familiar with us, but if not, so Speed Networking Solutions is essentially a two-part company. Number one, we are a software company that leverages today's technology to provide a much more efficient and effective process of connecting two like-minded individuals for a mutual reason. And then on the flip side, that technology also provides our clients to take full control over customization of how those matches may take place. The second part of our company is an event management company, event planning company, where we work with our clients to help through all the stages of event planning, from the initial thought process to the logistics to the marketing to the what-ifs. We are there to be a one-stop partner with our clients for every angle of putting together a structured networking program. So what we'll be discussing over the next 30 minutes, we're going to be illustrating quickly that we have experience understanding the needs of students and alumni, and I'll come back to talk about that. We're only going to spend a couple minutes because as I looked at the group that's on the call, I've come to the conclusion that everybody has a pretty good, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say they've all got a pretty good understanding, so I'm not going to hammer on that one too much because I think you all have a pretty good understanding of your own alumni and students, but we'll touch base on it for a moment. We're going to touch base on who else wants to engage your students and alumni and how that impacts your events and why it's time to consider looking at the next, taking consideration the next level of engagement with your students and alumni, and I'm going to share some of my experiences from the market. Then we're going to get into the guts of it, the engaging component of the career and professional development events, and I know on this call we've got a really nice mix of individuals who represent the Alumni Association, Alumni Career Services. We also have some folks from trade associations that are on the call who are also looking to engage their members as well. We'll talk a little bit about structuring an event, and then we're going to talk about how we maximize the value for the students, alumni, and also yourself to reduce your stress levels to some degree. So those are the things we're going to talk about. I know I'm going to go a little fast on this because we packed it all into 30 minutes, and it's hard to get everything done in 30 minutes. But if there's items that you'd like us to elaborate on time or one-off, just let us know. We'll be happy to share all of our knowledge with you. So the first component is just understanding the needs of your students and alumni. We realize, and I took the liberty to go onto some websites of some of the alumni groups that are participating, and was very pleased to find out they have been surveying their alumni very well, understanding their needs, understanding their interests, understanding the complexities of today's world of connecting with your alumni. It's a much different world. So I appreciate that. And what I took away from a lot of it is that networking is still a very, very high level of requests from the alumni. And what that networking means, there's so many different components of it, and we'll talk about those as well. And the component in which they're most interested in from the takeaways, and I'm kind of summarizing here because everyone had different verbiage for what they were positioning stuff, but what I took away was extended education was really important. Career management is critical. Professional development, not to mean career development, professional development, connecting like-minded business people, if that's the case, outside of the university. Social engagement as well. And those all come into play in many different ways, and I was very pleased to see that a lot of the schools had taken the liberty to really understand what their alumni needs are. And to take it a step further is the lifestyle management of it. Personally, I've gone through it. I've been the recent graduate. I've been the young alum, and I now consider myself somewhere in the middle. Then I'm also going through other life cycle stages. I'm now married. I have 2 kids. I'm involved in other businesses, other organizations, and how that impacts my time. And then geographically, we know that's been a big component of where the alumni directors are thinking about. We have alumni all over the world now. How do we get them connected? How do we get the local regions connected? There's so many different moving components into the world of alumni associations, and I think what we wanted to illustrate is that we understand. We know there's a lot of moving parts of this, and we know it's impossible to please everybody, but you're doing your best with the resources you have to do a fantastic job. As I mentioned, I was going to talk a moment about who else wants your students and alumni. And this is critical because I know membership and engagement is so critical for the universities in many, many ways. And to understand that when I go out into the marketplace and we serve our clients who are trade associations of all types, who are publications, if you're in Chicago or in New York, it's like a Cranes publication, or perhaps you might be familiar with a BizNow, who are very aggressive in trying to engage your alumni and students to be part of their organizations and events. Lifestyle organizations, there are just trade shows and conferences. They're not exactly a trade show per se, but just huge companies that put on massive trade shows for profit-driven reasons. Civic organizations and philanthropic organizations and business networking groups, they are all seeking to engage your alumni and students and pull them into their events. It's not to take anything away from you, but at the end of the day, it's very business-driven, and they are all looking to bring more people into their own organization. So therefore, it's getting everybody more competitive in how they structure events. Therefore, why companies like us have been created. Switching gears a little bit, I'd like to talk now about the career and professional development through structured networking events. And I'm going to use the word structured. I substituted the word speed networking events, and I said structured, because that is really what we are seeing out there, is that the more structured, adding structure to the events provides a better return of the value for the attendees and the participants. And I was going to kick off with a comment about the networking events, the next generation. And I know that many of the folks on the phone today have taken the liberty to now step out of their comfort zone and explore some of these new technologies and new programs, and are getting the results. And essentially, they take the results, they give them back to companies like us to continue to enhance the programming of the services. What I am finding in general as we work with competition to create the most engaging events, what's making a huge impact of no surprise is manipulating of data. As we gather data from attendees in a very simplistic registration form, that data can be manipulated in great ways today to achieve great results. Back in my day, when I was in business school, it was all about Excel spreadsheets, and we were taught how to be geniuses on Excel spreadsheets, and it was the early stages of manipulating data. And the data mining, the words we hear like that today, are having a huge impact on how we provide results to our clients. And that sophisticated programming allows the attendees, and not only the attendees, but the hosting organization to create customized matching parameters, because no two schools, no two career services have the exact agenda, and everybody likes to customize something a little bit to themselves to kind of get an edge. And technology today is allowing companies like ourselves to provide customization to you without having to redevelop an entire program. We can click a few buttons now, customize it, and let you run very specific types of events. The next component that's changed in the technology is the variety of interfaces and the distribution methods to allow a wide range of programming. And what I mean by that is the virtual-based structured networking programs, such as Brazen Careerist, that I know that many people are learning about, and SpotMe and busyevents.com. And there's the virtual component. There's the in-person component, which is what Speed Networking Solutions does. There is scheduling and planning programs out there that people can plan and schedule meetings ahead of time and then meet throughout a conference or a session or whatever it is that you might be doing. It all can be tweaked to fit your needs. And that's where a lot of the technology is moving towards. And we are at the forefront of some of that, along with some of our friendly competitors that we have up here as well. And all of that comes together to create very engaging events for both the students and alumni. And now again, going back to all the different components, we have alumni all over the world. We have some locally. We have some that are international students. There's so many different components that go into this. The nice thing about these technologies is they allow us to find something that fills that need and, again, engage that really targeted programming that will produce a higher return of investment for you and the participants. So some advantages for these structured networking programs, whether they be virtually or in person. And virtually could be as simple as a webcam back and forth. Brazen Careerist is a program where it's more of a instant message back and forth type of program, but you see a profile about the person. Busy Events is a scheduling system. SpotMe has some unique components as well. But the advantages are it maximizes the time for the busy alumni and the students. And whether you're going to use a virtual program where they can work out of their own office or their own comfortable setting, whether they're at Starbucks or at home, that's a fantastic opportunity. They effectively connect mutually interested individuals. Going back to my first day as an alumni, I walked into events. I didn't know who to talk to. Everybody was wearing a suit and tie, and they all represented different industries, different categories, different experiences, and I had no idea who to talk to. And we all know that you go to general mixers and you end up talking to someone, you have a fun conversation, and 45 minutes later you walk out with 2 cards and you say, well, neither of these were a direct hit for me, and I just took an hour and a half, 2 hours of time to come to this event. Other advantages, customized matching parameters, which is for the needs of the Alumni Association to be able to have more control based on their mission and objectives of the types of events they want to provide to alumni and students. And we'll get into some specifics here in just a moment. Creating in-person events and virtual events, you now have access to a wide variety of programming to meet those needs. And I think one of the other favorites from a lot of our clients is cutting back on the administrative time. As we've all done in the technology, we understand that your time and resources are greatly restricted. Now that you have more needs from alumni, the same amount of staff, or in some cases a smaller staff, you need to get to programs and services that can help you achieve those results in minimum amount of time. So look for those programs and services that have a great administrative feature to minimize and can be repetitive so that you can repeat the program over and over again. So therefore, you don't need to spend all the time on the learning curve each time. Believe it or not, I have some disadvantages. Hard to come off my tongue, but I'm going to mention them anyways. For a lot of these types of programs, these structured programs, it's often best if you have a minimum participation. It could be 30 or 40 people to make good use of these programs. Otherwise, some of the matching and the data, it's not as relevant. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's just not as often relevant because you have a smaller pool, a population of participants. So that's one thing you want to take in consideration with the planning. Another one is if the attendee list is too broad in nature. Give you an example. I do some programming for some chambers of commerce, and it's anybody and everybody that can come to the event. But if there's only 70 people and they represent 70 different industries and they're not interested in meeting one another, it sometimes is not the same effect. So as we transition, I'm going to start to get more into the depth of this and how to choose which type of structured networking program that's the right one for you to engage your alumni and students with. And this is the same process we go through with all of our clients. It's about an hour consultation, and obviously we're not going to do that on the phone today, but to give you a little bit of a taste of how we push the clients to answer these questions, which at the end of the day gives us the information we need to provide a very focused program for them that is going to meet the needs to engage the attendees, which in this case is for alumni career services and both alumni. So we first ask, what's the value proposition? And what's the purpose of the event? Who is this going to target specifically? And if it's not just alumni, it's what type of alumni? Are we looking at a specific industry group? Are we looking at a specific occupational group? Are we looking at a specific age demographic, etc.? And to then put ourselves in the shoes of the alumni and say, how is this going to benefit me? And to put that down and just mold that each time. And to also anticipate the size of the event. I know that, as I'll pick on my friends at Indiana University may not have a huge footprint in Anchorage, Alaska. And does it make sense to do a full-blown speed networking event there? No. Would it make sense to maybe include alumni over there in a virtual one? Probably yes. And to answer some basic questions, how many people should they connect with? And those are all components that go into developing a very structured event. Some of the most common event types when we work with our alumni associations and career services for structured networking programs, obviously, to no surprise, job fairs, career guidance, mentoring. Mentoring tends to be one of our most popular programs where our program fits the best, where alumni are on one side and students on the other side, and essentially students are picking the types of alumni, very specifically the types of alumni they would like to connect with. But the structured networking programs, as I know that Brazen Careers is great for a job fair program, and there's some really value in all those components. Professional development is the next one, which is a very popular one for us for very engaging structured programs where we put together like-minded individuals. Again, going back to my friends in Indiana, I remember, the basic there was the finance individuals, the banking individuals, the accounting individuals, the marketing individuals, etc., and to group them. So therefore, not just doing an event to the broad-based alumni association, but try and target it. So if you go to a major city for Chicago, if your school's in the Midwest and Chicago is a major city, perhaps consider trying to go industry-based. We're going to invite a structured event for the marketing, sales, and advertising and PR folks. And it's a peer-to-peer type of event. Outside of industry is also occupational-based. We have people that focus on certain components within a business structure or organizational structure, and to group those like-minded occupations is another way of going by it. Another way to think about it is by title. And then finally, the common event themes. And this, again, comes back to the engaging component, mentoring. That is a huge, huge component of what we see out there. There are a lot of businesses and programs out there trying to create the perfect mentoring program. And we can spend a whole nother session just talking about mentoring programs And I know that the majority of folks on the phone have, one way or another, put together mentoring programs, some with success, some not so successful, and there's a bunch of different ways of doing it. We have a relationship with a couple of schools in which we do a lot of mentoring programs, and I'm going to show you that in just a moment of some things that we've done. Peer-to-peer, which is great for student-to-student, for young alumni to young alumni, and alumni to each other. These programs, peer-to-peer, is to share knowledge. That is really what it is for. And yet, in a very structured format, there is a sense of confidence, of comfort for individuals to participate in those programs. So therefore, they can meet one-on-one. Whereas sometimes if we do suggest roundtable events, and I'm going to get off track for just a moment, on the roundtable events, if it's 8 people to a table with an industry leader, there's often dominance by a few people at the table, and the remaining people don't get to participate as much. So when we come back to the common event themes in a structured program, we're looking at one-to-one ratios for much of this. So therefore, the students can engage and share their information, build their confidence. Same thing for the young alumni. And finally, the other common theme that we see is business development events. Business development is a little bit more of a broad term, but essentially when we come out into after the alumni, they're looking to build relationships and synergies and business pipelines, etc. And that is the right forum for that. Mostly we see it with the young alumni to alumni types of programming, or just alumni programming. One other element we wanted to toss in here was collaboration. As I went back, as I go back a few slides where we talked about who else is after your organization, well, they are also doing a lot of programming, and yet it's difficult, no, that's not the right word, difficult, but they are looking to partner up in many ways. So perfect example, I am on the board of the Metropolitan Club. They love collaborating with business school programs. And here's why they like to do it. Self-servingly, absolutely. They want to build their pipeline of people who may be interested in joining their club. But on the flip side, it also incorporates fresh new connections for the members. For every event that I do at the Metropolitan Club in Chicago, Indiana, we host a lot of events over there. They may pull 1 or 2 members out of 100 people. That's okay. They're happy with that. But on the flip side, the members of the Metropolitan Club are connecting with great, like-minded people, so it establishes fresh connections. Increases attendance numbers. So therefore, if you don't have a huge footprint in an area and you can collaborate with other groups, it helps bring more people to the event. And finally, it does a lot of branding. So therefore, it's a very effective way of continuing to do branding and get exposure to certain target markets that you want to get in front of. And I think there's a lot of value in there without having to spend a lot of money on it. And the other question is who to collaborate with. Well, other alumni associations. I know it's a very competitive component in one respect, but on the other respect, collaboration with other alumni associations has many advantages. For example, again, if you don't have a major footprint in a certain area, partnering with other alumni groups of like-minded groups might help to bring your alumni who would otherwise do nothing and have no connection with the school, bring them back out to connect with other like-minded individuals. National and regional trade associations and business publications are another great component. If your school, whether it be a school of education or a business school, to identify key trades, which they may want to partner up in a local area for many different reasons. So take that in consideration. And then also business networking organizations such as Club Corp or Metropolitan Club in our case. Believe it or not, they love partnering and collaborating with the universities. One reason is it's great because you get the event space, wonderful event space. And on the flip side, they have event planners. They take all that planning off your plate and just all you got to do is market the event. And there's some great collaboration there. Effective marketing, I'm not going to talk too much on it because I know that many of you are great at marketing the events. And I've seen how you've done it through the save the dates, obviously social media. We've all been talking about it for years. Your websites have all come a long way over the years to be a great resource and SEO, etc., that I know is often talked about. And also event ambassadors. Often I call them spheres of influence. Individuals who have a great affiliation with the school that, they have 2,000 followers on Facebook, and you get them the link and they market it out. Great way of connecting. But what is the next part is what we focus more on is what to market. This is a very critical component to creating a very highly engaging event. It starts with the marketing, and to clearly define the event objectives in that, and I'm going to show you an example in just a moment. The details, time, and location is pretty obvious. Value for attending. It's not good enough to just say we're doing a speed networking event for careers. No, those we have to be very specific. They all want to know. They're information junkies. We know that. And they want to know what they're getting into and what's the additional benefits. So let me show you a quick example. I'm not sure if everyone can see this, how it comes up on the screen, but this is an example, an event we're working with, a client we're working with, and they make it very clear about it's a mentoring program, and they also have a networking program and connecting with your peers. So they're already doing positioning here on what the event should look like. And we talk about building the network. And I know it's probably a little fuzzy for anybody, so if anybody needs, I can send this. We'll post this later, and so everyone can see it. Looking for a mentor, and what the expectation is for participants. Whatever your option is, you're in control of the people you connect with. And we tell them exactly how many sessions. You're going to have 7 one-on-one meetings to connect with these individuals. And then how does it work? We tell them how it's going to work, and that there's going to be someone facilitating. There's going to be structure to this. And then down below we talk about mentors. Here's what's in it for you. Mentees, here's what's in it for you. And then a separate event we do is a networking event. Here's what it is. They go so as far in their networking events to say there's no solicitation allowed whatsoever. They really define it throughout the process, and it's a very clean marketing page. Finally, we're going to wrap up because I know we're getting close to the time here. Actually, going over a couple minutes. We're going to be done here in about 2 minutes. Maximizing the value. So finally, as busy event professionals, you want to know what's the return on here. We all do surveys, but as I mentioned before, we're doing data mining behind the scenes. Let us share that information with you. So for example, here's an event. This is actually from one of our university clients that works with us. And during the registration process of this event, little did the alumni and students know they were being surveyed. We had down below, we had 92 alumni and 96 students participating. And this case, the alumni broke down into all these categories. So art and education, 9 alumni represented that area of expertise. We go down, this client, 32 participants represented government. That's probably slightly giving away who the client may be. At least you can think of their designated area. A lot of government. Anyways, we can learn that information, and then the next part we match it up with, and this is just a component of how we do this, and we know other competitors also provide data research for you, is telling us now who, in this case, the students are interested in meeting. And this provided exceptional value to the team putting the event together. So therefore, we didn't have a huge representation from the alumni, but we didn't have that much interest in the students either in art and education. But as we look below, government, in which had the most amount of alumni representation, the students didn't express nearly as much interest as they did in consulting. What this does for us and the client is that it helps us tweak events before they ever take place. So therefore, we can say you need to twist the arms of a few more alumni that are in consulting, so therefore we can best match up the students. So therefore, when the event takes place, the students who really want to meet consulting professionals are going to be meeting all consulting professionals, and the consulting alumni are excited because they are sitting down with a student that is wildly excited to meet them above and beyond anything, and it's just a enlightening, engaging conversation that takes place. The other component that we do on speed networking is we actually have a quality control connection. We can see the quality of the matches before they ever take place. So if I see something like this at 39%, say, uh-oh, there's a problem there. We need to go find out what's happening. But otherwise, this is telling us the quality of the targeted matches that is taking place. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is not just to put us on a pedestal, but to realize that this is what us and other programs are doing to continually provide the best engaging events for you as you continue to evolve in your programming and think about the different programming. And I realize a half an hour is a very short time to really showcase everything that everybody's doing. And I would love to do it. And I'd love to keep you all on the phone, but I know that everybody is busy. But the purpose of this presentation was to kind of set the tone of where some of the technology is going to allow you to create better engaging events and connecting those alumni. We are certainly around to help and be of a friend to our alumni groups, career service groups, and some of the other trade associations that are on the call, because we see a lot of things. We know you're so busy in the course of the day running so many other things. Call us, ask us. We'll be the first ones to tell you, we're not a right fit for that, but contact this company. They may have a right fit for you, but keep us in line for the future. But that's one area we want to be of assistance with. As an alum myself, I have great praise for the individuals at my school who put their blood, sweat, and tears trying to make everybody happy. And it is not an easy task by any means. I have a very close relationship with them. I hear the good, bad, and ugly that takes place, as I'm sure it does at many of your own organizations. So one thing that I hope that you will look towards us and our company as not only we are trying to provide a great service and program, we're alumni. On our team, we have 3 Indiana alumni. We have some people from other schools as well. So we're very much in tune with what's going on and the emails and everything like that. So please use it as a resource. It is now a little bit past noon my time, and I want to thank everybody for taking the time to join us. And if you could be so kind, we'd love your feedback, good, bad, or indifferent, as we can continue to provide good programming for you that's not just all about us, but it's how we can deliver more resources to you to help you with engaging programs for your alumni associations. Perhaps we'll show up at some of them as well. So on behalf of myself, Michael Slater, thank you all for taking the time today. And if you have questions about our programs, about resources, our information is there. Feel free to contact us. I know that someone from our team may reach out to you just to get some feedback about this presentation. And thank you, and have a wonderful day.